Aisha sat in the back row of the classroom, just like always. She didn't like attention. She didn't speak much. But her eyes always followed one person, Armin. He was everything she wasn't. Confident, friendly, always smiling. Everyone liked him. But Aisha loved him silently. For 3 years, she watched him from a distance. She saved his lost pen once. She stayed late to decorate his debate stage. He never noticed. To Armin, she was just the quiet girl in class. But to her, he was everything. Her day started with his smile and ended with his goodbye to someone else. One day, something changed. Armin started spending time with a new girl, Sarah. She was beautiful, bold, and loud. Just like him. Aisha watched them laugh together. Her heart felt heavy, but she said nothing. She smiled in front of everyone, but inside she was breaking. That evening, as she packed her bag, she heard Arman whisper to Sarah, "Can we meet after class?" Aisha froze. She had waited for years, and now someone else was stepping into her dreams. She turned away quietly, tears hiding behind her smile. No one noticed, but her heart did, and it whispered, "It's too late." Aisha stopped going to the places where Armin and Sarah spent time. The library, the canteen, the garden bench under the old tree. She avoided them all. It hurt too much to watch. But her silence didn't fool Zoya, her best friend. One afternoon, Zoya found Aisha sitting alone near the college gate, staring at nothing. "You still love him, don't you?" Zoya asked gently. Aisha didn't reply. She just nodded slowly, her eyes full of pain she never spoke about. "I think you should tell him," Zoya said. "You've waited long enough." "I can't," Aisha whispered. "He already chose someone else." That night, Aisha couldn't sleep. She took out her notebook and began to write. She poured her heart into a letter. Every feeling, every silent moment, every tear. When she finished, she read it again. Her hands shook. Her heart beat faster. But the next day, she didn't give it to Armin. She folded the letter and placed it inside her book. Then as she stood near her desk, the letter fell to the floor without her noticing. Moments later, Armin walked by and picked it up. He opened it. He read every word. But he didn't know who wrote it. Armin read the letter slowly. Each word was full of emotion, soft, honest, and deep. Someone had loved him in silence for years. Someone who knew him better than he knew himself. He looked around the classroom, confused. Who could it be? The handwriting wasn't familiar. There was no name, no clue. Just a final line. "Even if you never know, I'll still care." He kept the letter in his pocket and asked a few friends, "Did you see who dropped this?" No one knew. Aisha watched from her seat, pretending to read. Her heart was racing. She had seen him pick up the letter. She had seen his eyes scan every line. But she stayed quiet. She was afraid. What if he laughed? What if he guessed and didn't feel the same? That day, the whole class noticed something new. Armin looked thoughtful, a little quiet, like he was trying to solve a puzzle with no pieces. Later, Sarah found him sitting alone with the letter in his hand. She smiled and sat beside him. "I think I know who wrote it," she said. Armin looked at her, surprised. "Really, who?" Sarah leaned closer and said, "Me." Aisha, standing behind the door, heard everything. Aisha stood still behind the half-open door. Her heart stopped when she heard Sarah's voice. "I wrote it." No, that wasn't true. But Armin didn't know that. He looked at Sarah in shock. "You wrote all this." Sarah smiled softly. "I didn't want to tell you before. I was scared. But these are my feelings." Aisha felt the floor slip beneath her. She had poured her heart into that letter. And now someone else had stolen her words, her love. Armin looked touched. I never knew you felt this way. Sarah nodded, playing her part well. Aisha quietly turned away. Her eyes filled with tears. Her chest felt heavy, like something precious had been taken from her. She didn't cry in front of anyone. She just smiled, as always, and walked away. Zoya noticed her silence later that day. "What's wrong?" she asked. Aisha replied, "He knows about the letter." Zoya smiled. "That's good, right?" Aisha shook her head. "He thinks Sarah wrote it." Zoya's smile faded. "What? You have to tell him the truth." But Aisha looked down and whispered, "No. If he believed her so easily, maybe my love was never strong enough." That night, she made a decision. To let go, quietly. Days passed, but Armin couldn't stop thinking about the letter. Something didn't feel right. Sarah's words didn't match the emotions in the letter. She acted too confident, too cold. But the letter felt warm, pure, and shy, like someone who loved deeply but never spoke. One afternoon, Armin sat alone under the tree near the college library. He took out the letter and read it again. Every word pulled at his heart. Zoya saw him sitting there. After a moment of silence, she walked over. "You're still thinking about the letter, aren't you?" she asked. Armin nodded. "It's strange. I believed Sarah, but the letter doesn't feel like her." Zoya hesitated, then said, "That's because it's not hers." He looked at her, surprised. "What do you mean?" Zoya sighed. "Aisha wrote it." Armin's heart skipped a beat. "Aisha, the quiet girl." Zoya nodded. "She loved you for years, but she never said a word." That letter, that was her voice. Armin sat there, stunned. He remembered the small things, how Aisha always helped, always smiled from afar. Suddenly, everything made sense. He stood up quickly. "Where is she now?" Zoya looked down. "She hasn't been coming to college." "She's gone," he whispered. But not from his heart. Armin couldn't sit still. His mind was full of Aisha, her silence, her shy smile, her quiet kindness. All those little things he never noticed before now felt big, like pieces of a puzzle finally fitting together. He turned to Zoya. "Please, help me find her." Zoya nodded. Together, they searched everywhere. Her favorite bench near the library, the garden where she liked to sit with her books, even the college rooftop. But she was nowhere. Later, while walking through the library, Armin paused. Something caught his eye, a small diary on the shelf that didn't belong there. He opened it out of curiosity and saw his own name. Page after page, Aisha had written about him. Not just love, but memories. The day he helped a lost child. The time he laughed with his friends. The way his eyes lit up when he talked about his dreams. At the end of the diary, there was a photo, him taken from a distance. And below it, one line. "Even if he never loves me, I'll always be happy that I loved him." His hands shook. Zoya whispered, "Now you know." Armin nodded slowly. "I have to find her." And this time, he wouldn't be too late. Armin finally found her. Aisha was sitting alone in a quiet garden near the old bookstore, her favorite place. Her head was down, her hands holding a book, but she wasn't reading. She looked up as he approached. Their eyes met. For a moment, everything was still. "I read your diary," Armin said softly. Aisha's face turned pale. You weren't supposed to." "I know, but I'm glad I did," he said. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" Aisha looked away. "Because I didn't want to lose you. And now, I already have." "No," Armin said, sitting beside her. "You never had me because I was too blind to see you." But your letter, your words, they opened my heart. She stayed quiet. He continued, Sarah lied. I was stupid to believe her, but now I know the truth. Tears filled Aisha's eyes. It doesn't change anything. Armin reached out and gently held her hand. It changes everything. I don't want a lie. I want the girl who loved me silently, the girl who never asked for anything. Aisha looked at him, her heart full of fear, hope, and pain. And when he whispered, "Can we start again?" she smiled softly and said, "Yes." The silence finally ended, with love.